Hi, it's me Leo back again with another video, and in this video we're going to be revisiting the Xbox Series X. So the Xbox Series X was released back in 2020, making it almost 4 years old. So in this video I'm going to give you the pros and cons of picking up an Xbox Series X and try and help you decide whether or not to pick up an Xbox Series X in 2024. And as always, if you end up enjoying this video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I had a look at my analytics and it turns out that 99% of my watch time comes from non-subscribers. So if you do enjoy, consider subscribing, it really helps out the channel. And we've recently hit 2,000 subscribers, which is absolutely amazing. We're going to try and aim for 30 likes on this video. Let's get on with it. So we're going to start off by having a look at the hardware of the Xbox Series X and seeing how it holds up after 4 years. We're then going to cover some pros and cons of buying an Xbox Series X in 2024. And finally, I'm going to give my opinion from the perspective of a current owner of an Xbox Series X. So here it is, the Xbox Series X. And the exterior design of the Xbox Series X I actually do quite like. It has a disc drive on the front with the power button. At the top there's some holes for ventilation. And the back of the console is where you can attach all the cables such as HDMI, power cable, Ethernet. It also has storage expansion and some USBs. The bottom of the console has a single rubber foot. So this console does actually have rubber feet on the side, so you can actually mount it on its side if you want to. And in the box it comes with one Xbox controller. And if you've played on an Xbox One, you'll be very familiar with this controller. There's only some subtle upgrades over the Xbox One controller. So when this Xbox first came out, the hardware was very impressive. It came with an 8-core AMD Zen 2 chip. The processor chip inside this Xbox was very similar to a 3rd generation Ryzen 7, which back in 2020 was a very high-end chip. And 4 years later, that still is a very impressive chip. But in the 4 years since this console was released, AMD has come out with some more updated chips. So I believe at the moment we're on 6th generation AMD Ryzen, and this has only got a 3rd generation chip. So not to say that the graphics card and the processor in this console are outdated, but obviously in the PC world there has been some major advancements. An example of that is ray tracing. If you've ever played on an Xbox Series X, you'll know that ray tracing in games on this console is very basic. A lot of games on this console that allow you to enable ray tracing only use it for basic features such as shadows. There is a significant loss in frame rates and performance when you use ray tracing on this console. So just having a look at the other specifications of this console, this comes with a 1TB SSD and 16GB of RAM/graphics memory. There is one area of the external design that does feel a little bit outdated. There's not a single USB-C port on the whole of this console. So that's just something to know. I believe the PlayStation 5 has one. So I've just run through a bunch of specifications of the Xbox, and you're probably wondering, how does it actually perform when you're gaming in 2024? So in short, the Xbox Series X actually does still perform very well. So I play my Xbox on a 55-inch 4K OLED TV, and the majority of games still look absolutely amazing on this console. This console in most games is able to run at least 60 frames per second. The majority of games try and aim for 4K resolution. This console also has amazing colors and amazing dynamic range because it supports Dolby Vision HDR, which is actually a very nice feature to have if you've got a supported television. So we're now going to cover some pros of picking up an Xbox Series X. And the first pro that comes to mind is GamePass. So you probably already know what GamePass is by now, but it's a subscription service that Microsoft offers for £13 a month. And GamePass Ultimate gives you access to Xbox Live, which you would already have to pay for separately, but it kind of bundles it into this one deal. And you also get access to the Game Pass library, which is a library on the Xbox Store that allows you to access hundreds of games, and these games change every month. They remove and add new games, a bit like Netflix. A lot of the Xbox exclusives are actually on Game Pass, such as Forza, Gears of War. I believe they've recently added a lot of the Bethesda games as well. The Game Pass is also a very good way of finding new games because there are a lot of indie titles that I've never heard of that are on there, and the fact that they're on Game Pass is just a very easy way of playing them. The next pro that I can think of is something that would be very useful to anyone that's owned a previous Xbox, and that is backwards compatibility. So I was at a car boot sale a couple of months ago and I picked up this, which is Call of Duty 4, the original Modern Warfare. And all I had to do was pop this disc in the Xbox Series X and it was able to play the game in backwards compatibility mode. That's the same with this game here, so this Black Ops 3. So this game was only released on the Xbox One, but you can play it on the Xbox Series X with backwards compatibility. So if you've got a library of older Xbox games, then this feature is really good because it means that you can still enjoy those games. And a lot of these older titles are actually available on the Xbox Store as well. Another feature that I've really enjoyed with the Xbox Series X is quick resume. So I'm someone that will be put off playing a game just because of loading times. It's one of the aspects of the previous Xbox One that I just wasn't a fan of, because a lot of games on that previous generation console took ages to boot into and very, very long loading times. That was mainly down to that console having an old-fashioned hard drive. They've updated that to an SSD on this console, so loading times are a lot better than they've previously been. Also, this has a feature called quick resume, so that means you can close out of a game, do something else on the console, such as opening up another game, or you can even turn the console off for even a couple of days, turn the console back on and then boot straight back into the game where you left off. And it's features like that that make me more likely to play the console, because there's none of that waiting around for a game to load up. So I'm now going to move on to some aspects of the Xbox Series X that I wish could be improved. Some things that have been negatives for me owning this console. So the first negative is actually something that I wasn't expecting to be an issue, because I've owned Xboxes in the past and this has never been an issue, but I do think that is worth mentioning because I have experienced it, and that is controller reliability. So you won't believe it, but in the year I've owned this console, I've been through 3 controllers. This Xbox came with a controller and it started drifting, and it was very annoying, so I ended up replacing it with this blue official Xbox Series X controller from the Microsoft website. This was about £70, and I had this for about 4 months, and then this started drifting as well, but it was the opposite joystick. And annoyingly, Microsoft only offered 90 days of warranty, so this was just over the warranty period and it started drifting. So this is basically useless, so I had to go and get another one. So this is my 3rd controller. Luckily, this one hasn't started drifting. So my final negative with this console that is worth mentioning is the storage. So this Xbox comes with 1 terabyte of solid state storage, which about 10 years ago would be absolutely enormous. You'd think you'd be able to put hundreds of games on that, but with the size of games in 2024, 1 terabyte just isn't enough for storing games. So I found that I've been able to have 7 or 8 games on this console before I ran out of storage. So it would have been nice if Microsoft included some more storage with this console. So finally, in my opinion, I have really enjoyed my time with the Xbox Series X. I think it's a very good console. Graphically, it still looks very good 4 years later. The console's able to load games very fast. There is a decent sized library of games, especially with GamePass. And if you're worried about this console being superseded in the near future, as far as I'm aware, Microsoft have come out and said they're not going to do a mid-cycle refresh like they did with the Xbox One X. So most likely we're going to have this Xbox for at least another 4 years before they update it with the new Xbox. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this video on the Xbox Series X, and if you have, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I make other tech videos and car videos. I'm going to try and aim for 30 likes on this video, and I will see everyone in my next video.